And speaking of culture, right? Because I see this as an opportunity, all this stuff, right? When I say, let's do this, let's do that. Because what do Moors do, right? And since nobody had, my thing is, I used to say it when I was black, you can't do black wrong. Think about it, right? What do you have to draw? What do you have to refer to in order to know that you're doing black correctly, right? And I'm just like, okay, just like with everything else with this movement, all I got to do is take that black part off and put in my stuff, right? I was thinking, well, let's go back to what we did in the olden days. But then I'm like, how did we end up in this mess? So probably don't want to do that. Not just like throw everything out, but I'm just like, we're in the here and now. These are modern times. We got some other stuff going on that might be sticking around for a while. We should adjust accordingly. And as the stuff that deserves to be kept reveals itself, there you go, right? Certain stuff just will not go away. That kind of thing. Like marriage. Everybody has it. Must be something to it, right? So every single culture. So yeah. So I look at all of this as an opportunity for us to establish our culture, right? It's got to come from somewhere, and I'm not waiting for nobody to give it to me. So one thing I suggest is the Prophet's Day. It's Drew Ali's born day, but I said, let's do for all the prophets, right? And the culture thing. I've been thinking about it for a whole week, right? And then I was like, oh, look, I haven't been on live in a month. So let me go see if anybody's interested in knowing about it. So, or hearing about it. I was on an amazing conversation with some Moors a week ago, because here we go with time flying again. And there was a group chat, and we were just, I just popped in because I had a little time. And the brother greeted me with, good morning, mother. And I'm just like, yeah, sorry. Before we start, I'm like, wow. Nope, it was early too. I can't believe I did that to folks. I'm like, yeah, before we start, could y'all please stop don't call me mother. I can't speak for the other sisters, but please don't call me mother, right? For a couple of reasons. One, I'm not your mother. I have children, and I know I'm not your mother. That's one. And I have a lot of children. I don't want any more children, so I'm not your mother. And I get why you're saying that, but then I thought of the other side, so that's my part. I have children, and if another child called another woman, if my child called another woman mother, I would feel some kind of way about it, right? I would not appreciate that, because you only get one mother, one father. Those, you can have stepfather, all that can, husbands, wives, all that can be replaced, right? You only get one mother and one father, so. No, and I'm like, yeah, and it just turned into a whole conversation, and we were just like, yeah, so what do we call each other? We're developing our culture. It was great, right? And then it was cool because one of the brothers, he was like, yeah, I think I see where you're coming from, because I don't know if I would be okay with another grown man walking up to me and calling me father. That's an interesting. Let's see what it looks like from your side. Yeah, that's weird, ain't it? Yeah. So yeah, just like that. So I share with them, I grew up Muslim, and what we did was we just called everybody sister and brother, right? And it came up that, if you want to show reverence to an elder, you can call them, like in other cultures, auntie and uncle, right? There you go. But everybody else is your sister and brother, even the children, right? Just a suggestion, because, that's an empty spot waiting to be filled. Oh, and that led to that same conversation started us down the road of the danger of misrepresentation by people that are not part of our nation. And by that, I mean, I go by who's your mother, right? Because that's the only thing you can know for sure. Up until 1995, when they came out with DNA testing, that was the only thing you could know for sure was your mother, right? Nope, not blood testing, because the guy she cheated with probably got her husband's blood type. So that didn't work. So it came up because we were talking about another temple and why I left, right? I wasn't comfortable with the daughter. I didn't have any, for the record, I did not have a problem with anybody inside of that temple. Not personally, not professionally, not otherly, no wise, right? So, but my issue was, and I knew what the situation was, I was dealing with someone who was in a position of leadership whose mother was not one of my mothers, that kind of thing, one of the mothers of our nation, right? And it just kept bothering me. And then I just had to think about it, right? And I'm just like, I'm tripping. I know how I was raised. Maybe I'm tripping, right? And I covered this in a whole presentation on YouTube called "Making the Case for Blocking Becky's Babies," that kind of thing. But specifically her, but I'm talking about everybody. But I'm just like, I look at how other nations handle it, because what else do we have to refer to? So it's like, let me see how y'all do this. Oh, look at that. Your mother is from that place. Your father is not. They not letting you do nothing. You can live there, but they're not letting you like be in the government or like teach their culture or none of that, right? If you do, it's like, well, you doing that for the foreigners. We're not going to be there to watch it. And I'm like, so maybe it's different if the father is from there and the mother's from somewhere else. Because I know most places are patrilineal. You know, they go by that line. Nope, don't matter. Oh, that your father is like the last guy who knows how to do this art in our land, but your mother's not from here? Dang, that just died. Because unless you teach somebody that's all the way, I guess unless you marry one of our women type of thing, because the guys can get out of it that way by bringing it back home. But these other cultures, they do not let, if you are not them, they don't let you up in their stuff, because it's just like, no, this is for our children. All right. And in case I had to bring it up, like, who's a Moor? Who's a Moor? You don't have no question on who's a black person. Just switch the criteria. There's no mistake when you see a black person. Same thing. Real easy, right? So anyway, so we were talking about that, and that led into how even though we're all from North America, right, and the adjoining islands, how different we are, right? Because we were talking about how I have a problem with, I don't care if your father is a Moor, if he all of that, I don't care. And I have children whose fathers are not Moors. It's like, I don't know. I would put it in writing. Do not let my children in the government. I don't trust them, right? Not to say that they would betray me, but it's like, well, you know, people can be tricked, that kind of stuff. They can say stuff in just passing. They don't know how important it is, all that stuff. So I don't want to take that chance. Nobody else is taking that chance, right? I'm just wondering, why do we always have to accommodate, right? That kind of thing. And then, I don't want to get off track, so I'm going to stay on my notes. So, yeah, like I said, the misrepresentation. And it came up that, like I said, we're all the same people, but we're really different. So we really got to be careful how we talk to each other. That's why I'm kind of being a little hesitant. Because one of the brothers on the call is from the islands. And he was just like, do you have a problem with these people? Like, not at all. Because what did they do? Just like with us. Well, I hate you because you're black. How did I do this? That kind of, no, I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm just saying, in the realm of sociology, right, and government, no, right? This is why we have Mexico, because the Spaniards wouldn't let them in their stuff, and the Moors wouldn't let those mixed children in their stuff. So they got Mexico, where they can gather and do their own thing, which they did. That's called Latin America, right? And Bangladesh. Have you ever looked at a Bangladeshi, right? How about Mongolia? Those are all like, look at the big nations that those little countries are between. And there's a reason why those little countries are there. You can see the gradient of the breeding. It's really tripped out. It's fascinating. I suggest you do it. But anyway, this brother is from the islands, and he was saying that his mother encouraged him to get with a bright girl. I don't know what else to call them, like Caucasian. Caucasian, or what did I write? Because I wanted to be like, I don't want to offend nobody. Becky's Tawny baby. How about that? Because I'm recognizing you are part Moor, but you are not a Moor, right? My daughters are Moors. But anyway, and my sons. Anyway, so right after we had that conversation, I stumbled across two examples. One of which was one of Becky's Tawny babies. And I'm not trying to harp on this, but it's just like, we got to be careful with this, who we're letting say what we are and how we do things. So this was Becky's Tawny baby. And I'm just like, I don't know you. I can see that you're obviously, you know, half Caucasian and half Moorish. I can see that, but I don't know which one is which. But so I'm just going to suspend judgment, that kind of thing. And she was being featured in, I think, the Wall Street Journal, presenting traditional Southern recipes, like our stuff. I'm like, oh boy, please. I've been having such a good day. And she goes into it like, yes, I finally got the chance to showcase our traditional recipes that were taught to me by my father and my uncle. There we go. Not your mother, not your auntie. Definitely, you didn't say your mother, right? Your father and your uncle. And I'm wondering who they got those recipes from. Like I said in another video, Mexicans don't know how to make tortillas because of their Spanish fathers, right? So who did they get that recipe from? And now, and it just, I'm a student of history, and I know why Elvis exists. If you don't know why, it's because they loved our music, they hated our faces, so they put him on it. Fast forward where the Klan's plan didn't work, and Tyrone got a hold of all his daughters. Oh my God, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. And now it's like, well, we'll take our daughters. We'll take our daughters' sons, but we still ain't gonna take y'all. We've been having these recipes how long? And I didn't see nobody else. Y'all put her in brought her up to do it. And then another one pops up where it's another one. And she's like, I'm going to show you why black people dressed as dandies. No, you're not. You're going to show us what you found in a book, because there's a whole lot of stories that are not in those books, because those were told in circles you will never be invited in because of your mother, right? We know better. And I'm just like, but why didn't you come to one of us? There's no black people in the fashion industry. My daughter is in fashion history right now. Why do you ask me? I would have hooked you up. She's studying right now, got access to all that stuff, but you going to Becky's daughter to get my history that I know for sure and certain is incomplete. All right? Because there's stuff you have to go into the houses and sit in circles to get. Everybody has that, right? You've had that experience. You go into any restaurant, name the nationality, and next thing you know, they get hush mouth, or they start talking in their language, if they weren't already talking in their language in the first place. So yeah. So I know it's incomplete.